One day, you'll realize that the biggest mistake was never a lack of talent. It was treating your own life as if it had unlimited time, unlimited chances, and no real consequences. Most people don't fail dramatically. They fail quietly, one delayed decision, one ignored opportunity, one broken promise to themselves at a time. And the frightening part is that it feels normal while it's happening. Welcome to Inner Depth Studio. Tonight, we're going to explore the psychology of self-respect and the moment everything begins to change, the day you stop treating your life casually. Success is rarely created by sudden motivation or extraordinary luck. It is built through a quiet shift in identity, the moment a person decides that their time matters, their habits matter, their standards matter, and their future is worth protecting. In this audiobook, we'll uncover why self-respect often comes before achievement, why disciplined people think differently about their choices, and how small daily actions gradually shape the person you become. So take a deep breath, slow down your thoughts, and let this be the beginning of a more serious relationship with your own potential. Let's begin. Most people never make a conscious decision to waste their potential. They simply drift. They wake up, respond to whatever feels urgent, postpone what feels difficult, and repeat the same patterns until years pass without noticeable change. The tragedy is not always dramatic failure. The tragedy is realizing that a meaningful life was slowly exchanged for comfort, distraction, and delay. Treating your life casually rarely feels dangerous in the moment. Ignoring one opportunity seems insignificant. Delaying one important conversation feels easy to justify. But life is not shaped by a single dramatic decision. It is shaped by the accumulation of small choices repeated so often that they become identity. This is where self-respect begins. Not with confidence, not with achievement, and not with external validation. It begins with the recognition that your future is affected by what you tolerate today. Think about the promises people make to themselves. They say they will start next week, become more disciplined next month, focus when the timing is right, or take their goals seriously after circumstances improve. But the mind becomes what it repeatedly practices. When you consistently ignore your own commitments, you teach yourself a dangerous lesson. My word to myself does not matter. That lesson quietly destroys self-respect. Notice how different highly disciplined people think. They do not see time as something that endlessly resets every morning. They see it as a resource that is constantly being converted into a future version of themselves. Every hour is either building that person or neglecting that person. This is why casual living becomes expensive. Not financially at first, but psychologically. Each time you choose short-term comfort over long-term growth, you create a small gap between the person you could become and the person you are becoming. Most people do not feel that gap immediately. They feel it years later, when they wonder why their potential never turned into reality. Machiavelli understood that power begins with the ability to govern oneself before attempting to influence anything else. Modern psychology echoes the same principle in a different language. Self-regulation predicts outcomes across health, career, relationships, and achievement. The people who consistently move forward are rarely those who feel motivated all the time. They are the people who have stopped negotiating with every temporary emotion. A casual mindset negotiates constantly. I don't feel like it today. I'll do it tomorrow. One more hour won't matter. Everyone else is doing the same thing. These thoughts sound reasonable because they are designed to protect comfort, not progress. The turning point arrives when a person realizes something uncomfortable. Nobody is coming to create discipline for you. The future you want is not waiting for permission to begin. It is waiting for evidence that you are willing to act in alignment with it. That evidence is surprisingly small at first. Waking up when you said you would. Finishing what you started. Showing up when nobody is watching. Protecting time that could easily be wasted. These actions seem ordinary, yet they communicate a powerful message to your own mind. I take my life seriously, and once that message becomes consistent, something changes. Decisions become less emotional and more intentional. You stop asking, "What do I feel like doing right now?" and start asking, "What would the person I want to become do in this situation?" That question is the beginning of identity transformation. The cost of treating your life casually is not only the opportunities you lose, it is the gradual erosion of trust between you and yourself. When that trust is weak, even good opportunities feel difficult to sustain. When that trust is strong, discipline stops feeling like punishment and starts feeling like self-respect in action. Most people wait for success before they begin respecting themselves. The deeper truth is often the opposite. Success becomes possible the moment you start behaving as if your future deserves your best effort today. And that moment, the moment you stop treating your life casually, is often the first real step toward becoming someone your future self will be grateful for. There comes a moment in every meaningful life when a person realizes that success is not something waiting in the future. It is something quietly built in the present, long before anyone else can see it. The habits you repeat today, the promises you keep to yourself, and the standards you refuse to lower are already shaping the person you will become tomorrow. Many people spend their lives chasing confidence, believing they will finally become disciplined once they feel more motivated. But motivation is unreliable. It appears when life is easy and disappears when life becomes difficult. Self-respect works differently. It doesn't ask whether you feel inspired. It asks whether your future deserves your effort, even on the days when no one is watching. Think about the commitments you make to yourself. How often do you postpone them? How often do you promise that tomorrow will be different, only to repeat the same choices again? Every broken promise may seem small, but your mind remembers each one. Slowly, it begins to question whether your own words can be trusted. And when you stop trusting yourself, taking bigger risks becomes harder than ever. This is why self-respect is far more practical than most people imagine. It isn't built through positive thinking or repeating affirmations. It is built through evidence. Every time you follow through on something you said you would do, no matter how small, you quietly prove to yourself that you are someone worth believing in. Those moments accumulate until confidence is no longer something you search for. It becomes part of your identity. People often admire successful individuals because of what they have achieved, but what they rarely see is the invisible relationship those people have with themselves. They wake up when they plan to wake up. They finish what they started. They protect their attention. They value their own time before expecting anyone else to value it. These are not dramatic acts. They are quiet expressions of self-respect, repeated over months and years. The world responds differently to people who respect themselves, not because they demand attention, but because their actions communicate consistency. They speak with certainty because they trust themselves. They make decisions without constantly seeking approval because they have already earned their own approval first. That quiet confidence is difficult to imitate because it cannot be borrowed from appearance or words alone. It is built through daily behavior. Success is often misunderstood as the reward for talent, intelligence, or opportunity. While those things certainly matter, they rarely sustain a person over the long term. What carries someone through uncertainty is the belief that their future is worth protecting today. That belief becomes visible in the smallest decisions, choosing discipline over comfort, preparation over procrastination, and long-term growth over temporary pleasure. Every successful life begins with an invisible decision. The decision to stop treating yourself like an afterthought. The decision to become someone who keeps their own promises. Because the moment you begin respecting yourself, your choices begin to change. And once your choices change, your future quietly begins changing with them. Every action you repeat is casting a vote for the person you are becoming. Whether you realize it or not, your identity is being shaped long before your biggest achievements arrive. It is built quietly, one ordinary decision at a time. Many people believe they need a completely different life before they can become a different person. They imagine that confidence will come after success, discipline will come after motivation, and happiness will come after reaching the next milestone. But the truth often works in the opposite direction. Success follows identity, not the other way around. The small choices you make each day may seem insignificant on their own. Waking up when your alarm rings, finishing the task you promised yourself you would complete, choosing to read instead of endlessly scrolling. None of these decisions will transform your life overnight, yet together they create a pattern. And over time, that pattern becomes your character. Your mind is constantly collecting evidence about who you are. Every promise you keep strengthens the belief that you are dependable. Every excuse you repeat strengthens the belief that avoiding discomfort is simply part of your nature. The remarkable thing is that your brain doesn't judge the size of the action. It only notices the consistency. This is why successful people often appear calm under pressure. Their confidence isn't built on hope or temporary emotion. It comes from thousands of small moments where they prove to themselves that they could be trusted. They no longer waste energy debating whether they should act. Their habits have already made the decision for them. Most people underestimate the power of ordinary days because they are waiting for extraordinary opportunities. But your future is rarely decided by a single dramatic moment. It is shaped by the routines that nobody applauds, the discipline that nobody sees, and the standards you continue to uphold even when there is no immediate reward. Imagine two people standing in the same place today. One waits until they feel inspired before taking action. The other acts because they have decided that discipline is simply part of who they are. At first, the difference between them is almost invisible. But after weeks, months, and years, that invisible gap becomes impossible to ignore. This is why identity is far more powerful than motivation. Motivation asks, "Do I feel like doing this today?" Identity asks, "What would the person I want to become do in this moment?" The second question changes everything because it removes emotion from the decision. It turns discipline into something personal rather than something temporary. If you want a different future, begin by protecting the identity you're building today. Every decision is an opportunity to become someone stronger, wiser, and more reliable. Not because the world is watching, but because you are teaching yourself who you are. Long before success becomes visible to anyone else, it is already taking shape within the quiet habits that define your identity. And once those habits become part of who you are, success is no longer something you chase. It becomes the natural direction of the life you've chosen to build. There is a quiet truth that many people discover far too late. The future you've been hoping for is not waiting for more luck, better timing, or perfect circumstances. It is waiting for a different version of you. For years, it's easy to believe that life changes because something extraordinary happens from the outside. A better opportunity appears. The right person comes along. More money arrives. More time becomes available. But the lives we admire are rarely transformed by a single event. They are transformed by ordinary decisions repeated with extraordinary consistency. Every chapter of this audiobook has pointed toward the same idea. Treating your life casually carries a cost. Self-respect must come before success, and the habits you repeat eventually become your identity. None of these ideas exist separately. Together, they form the foundation of a life built with intention instead of accident. Imagine meeting the version of yourself 5 years from now. Not the version shaped by wishful thinking, but the one created by the choices you continue making every day. What would that person thank you for? Would they be grateful that you protected your time, honored your commitments, and refused to settle for comfort? Or would they quietly wonder why you waited so long to begin? The future is built in conversations no one hears. It is built when you choose discipline over distraction, learning over excuses, and patience over instant gratification. These moments rarely feel significant while they are happening, yet they become the invisible bricks that support everything you will eventually achieve. One of the greatest mistakes people make is believing they must become successful before they deserve to respect themselves. The truth is exactly the opposite. Success is often the consequence of someone who has already decided that their life is worth taking seriously. Self-respect is not the reward at the finish line. It is the decision that starts the journey. There will always be people who move faster than you, people who seem more talented, more confident, or more fortunate. But comparison has never built a meaningful life. Your only responsibility is to become a little more intentional than you were yesterday. Small improvements may seem invisible from one day to the next, but over time, they become impossible to ignore. Remember that your future is shaped less by the goals you set than by the standards you refuse to compromise. Goals can change, circumstances can change, even dreams can evolve. But your standards determine how you respond to every challenge, every setback, and every opportunity that comes your way. So as you leave this audiobook, don't ask yourself how quickly success will arrive. Ask yourself a better question. Who am I becoming through the choices I make today? Because that question has the power to change every decision that follows. The life you want is not reserved for a different kind of person. It is built by the person you choose to become, one decision, one habit, and one ordinary day at a time. And perhaps that's the most powerful realization of all. Success doesn't begin when the world finally believes in you. It begins the moment you decide that your own life deserves your highest standard. As this chapter comes to an end, remember that lasting change rarely begins with a dramatic moment. More often, it begins with a quiet decision that no one else will ever see. The decision to raise your standards, to keep your promises to yourself, and to stop treating your own potential as something that can always wait until tomorrow. Success is not built in a single breakthrough. It is built in ordinary moments, repeated with extraordinary consistency. Every choice you make today is shaping the person you'll become tomorrow. And while the world may not notice those choices right away, your future certainly will. If this audiobook gave you something to reflect on, carry just one idea with you. Respect yourself enough to become the person your future is depending on. Thank you for spending this time with Inner Depth Studio. If you enjoyed this journey, consider subscribing and joining us for more explorations into psychology, human behavior, and the mindset behind a meaningful life. Until next time, take care of your mind, protect your standards, and never stop becoming the person you know you're capable of.